Hello everyone, this is Njima and I am the lead developer and designer of the TypeSqf Editor, and in this video I will show you how to work with the object-oriented TypeSqx syntax and how to make it work in Arma. And I will do that by creating an example class called Crowd. That's a crowd with individuals like civilians, and we will use that object to manipulate the crowd and the civilians in it. First of all, we start by creating a mission in the Arma's own Eden editor. So let's do that. So here in the Arma 3 editor, we open the Stratus island, and let's find a flat spot, and I think the flattest spot is over here at the airfield. We just create a mission, so let's become an officer like that, and we save the mission and we save it as crowd demo like that. Back at the desktop, we open the TypeSqf Editor, and the first thing we do is to enter Tools, Options, and enable this beta content, because the SQX and the object-oriented classes are currently beta content and will soon be released, but we're not exactly there yet. But we enable the beta content so that we can make use of all SQX features in the editor. We open the mission we created, so we select Open Mission. We cannot open project yet because we don't have a project file. So we start to open mission, and that's a very easy way to create the project file. So we browse to the directory of our mission and select the mission.sqm and select open. Okay, our project file is created. It's called crowd demo, and let's go directly to the creation of the class crowd. So we add a folder, we call it classes, in our structure, and in the classes folder we add a file called crowd.sqx. So we put one class in this file, and that is our structure. In the file crowd.sqx we declare the file, the class, like this, and we get a warning saying class crowd is not declared in the namespace. All classes should be surrounded by a namespace, and we can do that by adding the namespace keyword. And in this case I will put it in a namespace called TypeSqf.examples, and I will upload it later so you can get it as a CPAC. This class will manage a class in manage a crowd in two ways. It will have the individuals spread out, and it will have the individuals gather at one point. So that's the two methods we will add to the class. But before that, we will need some fields. So we add the private fields of our class. Fields can only be private and not public. The fields we need will be the one we call area marker, and another called units. We add an M because this is a member, that's a field, it's not just an ordinary private variable. So we do that on both. One more thing we can do in the TypeSqf SQX syntax is that we can add a type on this. So we can add a string, because the area marker is a marker name, in fact, and that will be a string, and the units is an array. So that's a way for the TypeSqf editor to give us feedback later. Then we will add a constructor. So when this class is created or instantiated, we will spawn the units, civilians, inside the area marker. So we create a constructor like this. Upon creation, we create a crowd object and we spawn civilians inside an area marker. We send 2 parameters into this function, because the constructor is a function, but it doesn't return anything other than the class itself. So here we expect the area marker and a number of units that should be created here. So here we receive the parameters. You see, you can add give them types here too, and we declare a few variables that we will need with the private command, and here also you can add all types to all variables that you use. You don't have to do that, but it's possible. The area marker is initialized with the area marker sent into this constructor, and the units array is initialized with an empty array. Then we create a loop, and we create as many units as the number of units we sent in. So, and for every iteration we create a group. All units will have its own group. We declare type, and we select a type like randomly from 3 different civilian class names, and we get a random marker position. Then we create the unit and we add it to the back of the units array. This function, get random marker pos, we need to declare. So below the constructor we create the get random marker pos method like this. Private method. Well, here you can specify a return type from the method if you want to. It's not mandatory to do so, so we could just put the name here. Like that, because we do not expect any return values from this function. It's a void. Here, let's give it it will get a random position within the area marker, and the code looks like this. So we declare a few variables that we will need: x, y, marker size, marker pos, and we give them a random position inside this rectangular area, and we return the random position here. So this call to the private method get random marker pos will return a random position into here. So the unit will be created on that random position and then added to the unit array. Okay, now to our methods. We will have 2 methods, 2 public methods. One that we call spread out, command line looks like this. This method has the units spread out randomly over the marker area, and the code looks like this. So we loop through all units and give each one a waypoint to a random marker position. The other function, public method, or the other method, is gather at position. So you can hear from the name that this one will take a parameter, because this method has the units gather at one position, and we send in the position as a parameter. And the code looks like this. So we receive the parameter by parsing this array, and we loop through all the units and give each one a waypoint to the position that we sent in. Okay, our crowd class is done, so let's try to use it. And we will use it in the init file. However, an SQX class need to be used within SQX content only. So the init file we create need to be init.sqx. And how will this work? You ask, because Arma 3 do not know anything about SQX files, and it will work because we will do like this. We will include an ordinary init.sqf, and in the init.sqf we will exec vm, we will execute the script init.sqx. And when we include an SQX file from an SQF context, we will need to add .sqf after it. And this is because the init.sqx is compiled into the file init.sqx.sqf. So first thing Arma does is this line. It will call the compiled init.sqx, and then it will execute the init.sqx code. And here we will use our crowd. So first of all, we include the crowd, and we can do that by compiling it. Call compile pre-process file line numbers, and we call on classes crowd.sqx. Okay, this time it's enough to write crowd.sqx because we're in an SQX context. So when this file is compiled, it will know how to include another SQX file. So first we compile the crowd, then we can use it, and we can create a variable that we call crowd, and we declare it as a TypeSqf.examples.crowd. However, if you do not want to write all this, you can add a using here, like in C#, using TypeSqf.examples, which is the namespace in which crowd resides, and then you can simply where do we have it? Then you can simply declare it as a crowd like this. What we do then is we sleep 3 seconds just to have a breathing room until everything starts to move, and then we create an instance of this crowd. So the constructor takes 2 arguments. The first one is the name of the rectangular marker, which we will call area marker, and the other one, you can look at it here, the other one, the area marker is the first one, and the second one is the units count, so we can add 10. we instantiate it with a new command and create a new crowd like this. So crowd is now a crowd. We can add some debug text here. Player side chat create crowd like this. Later we can sleep for 5 seconds because before they start to move, and then they gather at the position. And the gather at position takes 2 arguments. No, it takes 1 argument. It takes a position. So we need to send in 1 position, gather at position. So the position, let's send in an area position, get marker pos area marker. We'll send in the center position of this area marker. That's where they will gather. And we call, just like we call a usual function, we call crowd dot gather at position. Let's sleep for 12 seconds so they can gather. Then we spread out. So we we write player side chat spread out, and we do that by calling the crowd dot spread out. Okay, when they have spread out, let's wait again, sleep for 12 seconds, and after that we can gather at the player's position. So first write it out, player side chat gather at player's position. So as an argument we will send in get pos player, call crowd dot gather at position. Okay, so crowd is included, compiled. We use the namespace. We declare the crowd variable. We create the crowd. Then all the units should pop up on the area. We gather at the center position of that area. They spread out, and when they have spread out, they gather at the player's position. So now we need to go into the Arma editor and enter the area marker. Let's do that. Okay, so we go into the map mode, select markers, and we need a shape. So let's take a rectangle like this. We'll have it a little smaller for demonstration purposes. Let's align it with a runway like this, and now it should be fairly in front of us like that, and we will give it a name, area marker, like that. Okay, there's one thing we need to do, and that is to compile our mission before we play it, because since this is SQX code, we will need to compile it, and that we do with a build in the build menu and compile project. Okay, this is in front of us, and we can see that the crowd is created. It should be 3 seconds, then they will gather at the center of the area. Looks good. Then they should spread out after 12 seconds, and each one should go to a randomly selected position. Looks good. And after 12 seconds later, they should go to the position of the player. So here they come. Okay, looks quite good. But before we're finished, I need to show you where the object-oriented approach really shines, and that is in the reusability of the object. So I will show you how simple it will be to handle two crowds. We can copy this area, so we will have a crowd a bit farther away, and we call it area marker 2, like that. Then back in the editor we will modify this script and create another variable. We call it crowd2, and that's a crowd2, of course. We create the crowd here, so let's create the crowd2 directly beneath that line, and we will create that crowd on area marker 2. Then the first crowd will gather at the center of the area marker. At the same time, we can have the other crowd, the crowd 2, gather at the position area marker 2. Then we call crowd spread out. So the first crowd will spread out on its marker, and the crowd 2 will spread out on its marker further away. And then as the last point, we will have both crowds come to the player. So the position is the player's position, and both crowd 1 and crowd 2 will gather at that position. Okay, do not forget to compile the project after every change, and let's try that in the editor. So we hit the play scenario button, and now we should see one crowd pretty close to us and one crowd a little further away. Both crowds will gather around its center position. Then they will spread out again. And after they have spread out, both crowds should get a waypoint to the player's position. That concludes this tutorial. You can get the editor from www.typesqf.com and from the download section. And here you also have the full Sqx Api reference with all the keywords that differs SQF from SQX, and with information to the left and working examples to the right. Okay, that's all for now. Happy scripting.